we're starting the second semester, so this is quarter 3, week 1, and we are on Monday. Make sure you're still putting your name at the top, and I would always put the quarter 3, week 1 here, because when you take a screenshot, or excuse me, a picture of this and submit it to the Canvas, the lesson in Canvas, I want to see your name, okay? So number 1 says, the table shows a bank account balance for 2 days. So the first day we had a negative 51, and the second day we had a negative $75. How much did the bank account change over the 2 days? That's our important word. The word is change. When you do the 2 days, you start with the second day minus the first day. So it would be a negative 75 minus a negative 51. When you're subtracting integers, it's actually keep, change, change. So I have a negative and a positive, so I'm going to subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number. So the bank account changed a negative $24. But I need to see that you set up the subtraction problem. I can't just see an answer. Number 2, you would do right on to the graph. It says sketch a graph that represents a proportional relationship. To be proportional, there are 2 things it has to be. What are the 2 things that it has to be? Go ahead.
Has to be straight.
Has to be a straight line and goes through the origin. So I'm just doing this. That's all you had to do. Could I make it go like this? Yeah, as long as you had a straight line and it went right through that origin. That's all you had to do. Your line could have been more steep. It could have been not as steep, as long as it was straight and it went through the origin. Carlos bought an item online for $160 and he was charged an $8 fee for shipping. What percent of the sale price was the shipping fee? The way I solved it was, I just said it was $8. Thank you. It was $8 out of the $160. Then I just took and I just divided it to find a decimal. 8 divided by 160. I had to add a decimal, add a 0. Still doesn't go in there, so I'm adding another 0. And it actually goes in there 5 times. Oops. Because 160 times 5 is 800. Then I take my decimal and I change it to a percent by moving the decimal place 2 places to the right, and I get 5% as my final answer. Are there any other ways that you guys have solved this? Okay, second semester I allowed calculators, which is fine, but you have to show me the fraction that you set it up with. You have to show me that you're doing the division in your calculator. You necessarily wouldn't have to show me any of this. You would just write the answer there, but then show me that you're moving the decimal place 2 places and you get 5%. That can be done on your calculator. Number 1 should not be done on your calculator. Number 2 obviously couldn't. Number 4 says, what is the slope between the 2 points? First of all, I want you to write the formula for slope. If you didn't, you're writing it in there right now. Slope equals, what is the formula for slope? Okay, y, say it.
Y2
Minus y1 over what?
x2 minus x1.
Okay, and our 2 points were 0, negative 3, and negative 6, 7. These are always points number 1. These are points number 2. And it's always x, y, x, y. So then I have y2, which is 7, minus y1, which is a negative 3, over x2 is a negative 6, minus x1 is 0. Keep, change, change. So then 7 plus 3 is 10, and keep, change, which is fine, but that would be over a negative 6. If you can reduce, you want to make sure you reduce. What can I reduce 10 and 6 by? What can I reduce it by, guys? 2. So I'm going to divide by 2, and I get 5 over a negative 3. What does that represent? What does the 5 over the negative 3? If you are not putting what it represents, you need to start, because that's what we were doing before we left. 5 means it, and this is always the y, and this would be the x. So this means that 5 means it goes what? Up, down, left, or right? What?
Right.
No, not right. Up. 5. Because this is my y. My y is always up and down. And then a negative 3 would mean it goes left. 3. Write that down. This should be part of your answer, all of this. If you don't have it, you need to put it in there. Number 5. Says a diagram of a swimming pool is below. The width of the pool is 25 meters. Find the length of the actual pool. Okay, if this is a diagram, that means we're setting up equivalent ratios. So if I have the width of one side is 7.5 centimeters, and the length is 15 centimeters. Okay, all I did was just take the width and the length. It says the width of the pool is 25 meters. Find the length. So if I know the actual length is 25 here, okay, I need to figure out what x equals. This is not an easy transition from a 7.5 to 25. I don't know it exactly, right? So this is where we're going to use our calculator and cross multiplication. So you need to show your work. I cannot just have answers. So if you're not showing your work, you're doing it right now in pen so I can see every single step. Yes, Blake?
25 meters, not centimeters.
Oh, thank you. So then I take 15 times 25 equals 7.5 times x. I'm just going to use my calculator to save some time and take 15 times 25, which is 375. So I have 375 equals 7.5x. Then I'm solving, I'm dividing by 7.5. You are showing me every single step. Otherwise, you're not getting the points. So then I took this in my calculator, 375 divided by 7.5, and I got x equals 50 meters. Now I think some of you might have thought differently. Some of you might have thought 7.5 is half of 15. How many of you did it that way? Okay, so then what did you have to do to the 25? You had to double it, right? But you had to show me that work. So you would show me 25 times 2. You have to show me something. But when you don't know, you need to set it up like this, finding the equivalent ratios or proportions. Number 6. 3/8 equals 2 over the letter V. How do you solve this? Cross multiplication. You have to show me this work. I walked around this morning and I don't see it. So I have 8 times 2 equals 3 times V. So then I have 16 equals 3V. Divide by 3, divide by 3. So once I do that division, I can leave it as a fraction, and I can say V equals 5 1/3. Or if you changed it to a decimal, it would be 5 point what? 3 repeated. 7 is something new for this semester. Finding the missing angle. What you need to know is what do all the angles add up to in a triangle? Does anybody know? Excellent, 180. So I would write, I have my 20 plus 130 plus my x equals 180. So I do 130 plus 120 is 150 plus x equals 180. I'm going to subtract 150 from both sides, and x equals 30 degrees. You had to show work. I don't want to just see an answer. Okay, even if you're using your calculator to add 20 plus 30, you're showing me that that's what you're doing. You know, you really didn't need a calculator for that one. Number 8, classify the triangle in the above problem. Right, scalene, isosceles, or equilateral. We are writing down the definition. Triangle. Right. And then you make the triangle, because you're seeing a right triangle. What does it have? One 90-degree angle. 190 degree, and this is the abbreviation or the symbol for angle. Then we have scalene triangle. What does a scalene triangle have? It doesn't have to do anything with the angles. It has to do with the sides. Olivia?
All the sides are different.
Right, all sides are different measures. Then we have an isosceles triangle. It has to do with the sides again. Does anybody know for the isosceles triangle? Yep, 2 sides have the same measure. Do we have an equilateral triangle? Well, it tells us in the name, right? What's our base word? Equal. So what are all the sides?
Equal.
All sides are equal. So then if I go up to my triangle, it cannot be a right triangle because none of the measures are 90 degrees. If I just look at it and I see this side compared to this side, they're different. And then this side to this side, do any of them measure the same?
No.
So number 8, the answer is